What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Triple Z Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. The Denver Nuggets are facing a lot of adversity right now, being down 0-2 to Minnesota, 106-80. Game 2, Rudy missed the game for personal reasons, and without the soon-to-be Defensive Player of the Year, the Timberwolves put on a defensive clinic against the Denver Nuggets, holding them for the second game in a row under 100 points. Jokic and Murray combined for 8 of 31 shooting from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. In a game where Rudy's defensive presence isn't in this game, you would think Denver would have easier looks near the rim because Rudy's not on that back line. This game, yes, Anthony Edwards had 27 points, all that type of stuff. Karl-Anthony Towns, 27, 12 rebounds as well. But defense won the Timberwolves this game because they were just suffocating the Denver Nuggets defensively. Like Jamal Murray couldn't do anything with Nickeil Alexander-Walker or Jaden McDaniels. He couldn't do a damn thing. And the best defensive play for the Minnesota Timberwolves was when Jamal Murray was bringing up the court. I believe Nickeil Alexander-Walker came for the double team, and they were just swarming him, moving their hands, not fouling, having their hands wide up. Like, they were just swarming Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray acted like he got fouled. And, I looked into it a little bit closer. He didn't get fouled. He did not get fouled. Like, he just couldn't do anything with those two players swarming him defensively. I thought Naz Reid had some great defensive moments as well, guarding Nikola Jokic, which is not an easy cover. But that's what it is for the Minnesota Timberwolves if they want to win this series. You have to make Jokic work on both ends, right? Because that front court, I think, is the X factor. Cat, Naz Reid, and Rudy Gobert, because you got two players in Cat and Naz Reid that can go at Jokic offensively, being able to stretch out the floor, hit the outside shot, take you off the dribble, score inside in the mid post. And then you have Rudy, who's about to win his fourth Defensive Player of the Year, guarding the interior, making it difficult for, Jokic to find Gordon on that backdoor lob, right? I think defensively, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been phenomenal throughout the entire playoffs. They're undefeated in the playoffs. They're 6-0. They won their first 4 games against the Phoenix Suns, and now they won their first 2 games in Denver, which is a difficult place to win. With the altitude, with the momentum of the crowd, and Jokic and Murray and all those guys playing, that's a hard place to win, and they've done it twice. Now they're going back to Minnesota. Anytime a team is up 2-0, I always ask myself in the back of my mind, if a team is up 2-0, can they potentially sweep the other team in the series? I don't think Minnesota will sweep the Denver Nuggets. But for Denver, Game 3 is a must win. Must win. No, whether Rudy's playing or not, Denver needs to win Game 3. And in this game with the Denver Nuggets, you saw a lot of moments where they got frustrated. For example, with Mike Malone, he got right in the face of that referee. I'm not sure what his name is, but he got right in the face, nose to nose. Can probably smell his breath getting in his face and just explaining how frustrated he is with a certain foul not being called on Karl-Anthony Towns, because it was a charge on Karl-Anthony Towns when Jamal Murray was guarding him. So shout out to that referee for not calling a quick tech or ejecting Mike Malone, because that entire situation, that entire moment between that referee and Mike Malone could have been ejected from the game, which could have really, really, really put Denver in a tough situation. They're already in a tough spot already because they were already getting the brakes beat off of them, right? They're already in a bad situation with the Minnesota's defense, plummeting them and just literally not giving them any daylight, right, to generate any type of offense. So shout out to that referee for keeping his composure, not letting Mike Malone frustrate him to the point where he's calling techs and ejecting him out of the game. Jamal Murray is a great player. We all know he elevates his game when it's playoff time, but bro, if things aren't going your way, find something else to do. Find something else to do. You saw a lot of moments where Jamal Murray was frustrated, and I get it. Minnesota is locking you down. You're not able to help your team in the way that you want to, right? But you gotta find other ways. And Jamal Murray kind of annoyed me in this series in this game particularly, because he just kept throwing his hand up in the air looking for the foul. You're clearly not getting the foul. The referees are letting you guys play, which all players ask for, and then when the referees let it happen, the players tend to complain, which doesn't make any sense to me, right? It's like the referees can never win. If they let certain things slide, they get trashed for it. If they don't, they get trashed for it as well. Almost every single series, you've heard fans say, "Ref, you suck. Ref, you suck." I'm like, dang. In every single series, like, they can never win. I feel bad for the referees. They can never win. But Jamal Murray just constantly complaining. His energy wasn't good. There was 2 moments where he threw a towel on the court and then he threw a heating pad out of frustration. Like, what kind of behavior is that? That's just being a sore loser. You're one of the leaders of this team, and that's how you're acting. You're throwing, a towel and a heating pad on the court. And I wouldn't have been shocked if the referee, who Mike Malone got in the face of, ejected him from the game. Because let's say he threw the heating pad on the floor and then someone driving towards the paint slips on it and then, hurts their knee or meniscus or whatever the case may be. The referees let a few things slide in this game with Mike Malone, Jamal Murray's behavior, Jokic. Anytime when you're able to stop him, it really slows down everything for the Denver Nuggets. And it's so funny because, like I said, like Jokic and Murray went 8 of 31 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. Michael Porter Jr. isn't getting good looks. He only went 1 of 7 from 3. You have to find ways to get him going offensively, whether it's coming off a screen, pin down, whatever the case may be. He has to find himself going. He has to see that ball go through the net to get Aaron Gordon. And maybe I was a fool to think this, but like once Aaron Gordon was knocking down a few jump shots. He knocked down a 3, then he hit like a little mid-range. I was like, okay, hold up now. But then like later on, the more he started to show, I'm like, relax. Like that's not your game, buddy. That's not your game. And it's funny because he led all scorers, I think, with 20 points, 3 or 5 from 3. He was the best 3-point shooter for the Denver Nuggets, Aaron Gordon, who's not known for his 3-point shooting at all. Most teams, like Rudy's guarding Aaron Gordon for a reason because he's not a threat from the outside. There's a reason for that. So if Aaron Gordon's going 3 or 5 and is your best 3-point shooter for that night, Denver's not winning that game. They're not winning that game. And for Minnesota, like I said, like this was the best defensive game I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've been watching NBA basketball. I've been watching basketball, period, for a very long time. Like, that defense was just different. Everybody was locked in. You have Mike Conley playing defense, Naz Reid playing defense, Anthony Edwards, we know what he can do defensively. Jaden McDaniels, hey, they got Nikola Jokic, we got Jaden McDaniels. Like that's how I'm really thinking about it because their defense is so amazing. They communicate well, they rotate, they make the proper adjustments defensively. They're just a great team defensively. They're a great team overall, and it's being led by Anthony Edwards. And, with Anthony Edwards, everybody's talking about, can he be the face of the league and all that type of stuff? And before, I thought to myself, no, because in order to be the face of the league, you have to take on that title. Like, it can be given to you, but if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. And with Anthony Edwards, I feel like he can kind of lean towards wanting that title because the way how he talks about his team, the way how he talks about his teammates, specifically Jaden McDaniels, he's putting Jaden McDaniels on this high pedestal because he understands what Jaden McDaniels can do defensively when his offensive game is not on point. Like I think Anthony Edwards said in the interview, Jaden McDaniels didn't score tonight, or I think he didn't shoot great from the field. I think like 1 of 7 from the field, but he had a plus 51 throughout between the first 2 games. He has a plus 51 on the court. Like, that's impacting the game in different ways. And I like how Anthony Edwards is just putting all of his teammates on a high pedestal, whether it's the coaching staff, his teammates, like whatever it is. He's just doing a phenomenal job of being a leader, leading by example, leading vocally in the press conferences, in the post-game interviews, like whatever it is. Like, he's just doing a phenomenal job. So if that's who the NBA wants to be the face of the league, I think they're heading in the right direction because he carries himself in a certain manner where it could be a good look for the NBA when he's off the court and on the court. So now I'm thinking to myself, all right, Minnesota up 2 games on the Denver Nuggets, the defending champs. They're going back to Minnesota. They're undefeated in Minnesota, right? They're only 2-0 in Minnesota, but still. I don't think Denver will get swept. I think Denver will win game 3. I think Jamal Murray and Jokic will just have better games, right? I think they will have better games. Now, Rudy may come back, like he was out for game 2 because of the birth of his first child. Congratulations to him. I'm not sure if he's going to be back in game 3, but I think if I had to make a prediction, I think Denver wins game 3. They win game 3. That's all you need to do. One game at a time. Like literally every coach, every player has said it. If you're down in the series, one game at a time. And I think that's what Denver needs to do. Because here's something for Denver. This is not the Lakers. A way different ball club from the Lakers. Because in the first round against the Lakers, Denver was down by 10 points, 15 points, 20 points even. And, they thought to themselves, all right, let's turn it up in the second half. Let's get it going in the third quarter. They can't beat us in the fourth quarter because they don't know how to execute on both ends like us. Let's win this series. Let's get it going. Let's pack them up, right? Bro, against the Minnesota Timberwolves, you can't be down 20 because they're a great defensive team. So they can keep you in that deficit for the entire game. Once they get the up on you, 15, 20 points, then they rely on their defense to keep you in that position. To keep you in a position where you have no chance of winning. So I think that's Denver's game plan. Like they need to figure out a way to generate easier looks for Jokic. Murray get certain type of switches where Alexander Walker and Jaden McDaniels is off Murray so he can get easier looks. Jokic, he has to take on the assignment of dealing with a front court, the best front court in the NBA. Naz Reid, 6th man of the year. Karl-Anthony Towns, an all-star shooting. I think his shooting splits are 50, 40, 90. And Rudy Gobert, who's about to win his 4th Defensive Player of the Year. So Jokic has a lot in his hands. Hence why he talked about having a clone of himself going against this front court for Minnesota. So Denver, we've never seen them in a position where, like, for the past 2 games, they haven't scored 100. Their offense looks terrible. Like, Murray and Jokic both had 4 turnovers each. When your primary ball handlers are turning over the ball that much, it's hard to win games because you trust them with the basketball. You trust them to make decisions for the team. But when they're being sloppy with the ball, when they're turning over the basketball, it's going to be hard for the Denver Nuggets to win. And I think at halftime, Denver had like 11 turnovers. It felt like 20. It just felt like Minnesota was locking it up. They got me locked up, won't let me out. Oh, yo, you hear the vocals on that? Chill. But Minnesota, some great defense. Like, I was watching the game, and I think it's probably one of the most memorable buckets or scoring possessions from that game when Anthony Edwards was on the baseline. I believe he was on the left side. Who was guarding him? I think Holiday. I forgot his first name. Jeff Holiday? Drew Holiday? No, not Drew Holiday, obviously. Something Holiday. I don't know. One of the Holiday brothers was guarding him, and then Michael Porter Jr. came for the double team. Anthony Edwards does a crazy turnaround fadeaway over 2 defenders and knocked it down. I promise you. I immediately turned off the TV and went to bed. I was like, I'm done. Because at that point, they went up by 30. What's the point? This ain't the Lakers. You can't be down double digits and think you can just turn it on in the second half or third quarter or fourth quarter. Like, this is a legit title contending team. The Minnesota Timberwolves are a legit title contending team of how they play their defense, and then they're having the head of the snake, Anthony Edwards, lead the way. Like, they're playing the best basketball in the 2024 NBA playoffs. Like, out of the Western Conference, like Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, and OKC, like any one of those 4 teams can make it out of the West. And Minnesota is looking like they have the best chance to make it out of the West. And who knows, hopefully contend for an NBA title. Thank you guys for listening to a Triple Z podcast. Please subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comment section if you have Denver or Minnesota winning Game 3. I'll see you guys next time. Zzz.